Breaking news, everybody, political commentator Charlie Kirk was assassinated on a college campus in the state of Utah. Charlie Kirk was 31 years old when this happened. It happened a few hours ago and it was shot by a person. We don't know their identity, we don't know who they are, who this person is, but I hope we will find out soon. Before we start talking about everything that happened and Charlie Kirk, because I think we need to talk about who Charlie was, I want to extend my condolences to Charlie's family, his wife, his kids, everybody that is close to him, because this is a tragedy and this is something that should never happen, but sadly sometimes such events do occur, and we all have to remember how lucky and fortunate we are that we exist. So I want to do this before we start talking about anything pertaining to the assassination of the late Charlie Kirk. So, for everyone who doesn't know this, Charlie Kirk was a political commentator. He was a conservative, pro-life political commentator, right-wing person, 31 years old when he died. He was born in 1993, and in 2012, unless I'm mistaken, I read this on Wikipedia a few minutes ago, he started this association, Turning Point USA, and he was obviously the main person, the guy who ran it. I don't know what the name is. I don't think he was the CEO, but he was sort of the head of the association Turning Point USA, and his whole life has been about debating in college. His whole adult life was about debating on college campuses. That's what he was doing, and that's what he's known for. He's known for debating kids at college campuses and for his ideas. So this was basically Charlie Kirk. President Trump has now ordered all flags, all federal flags, to be put at half-mast. I think it is an appropriate thing to do, I believe. And I'm happy he did it until Sunday at 6 p.m. or 12 p.m., I don't know. And I think what the president did was appropriate. And I do hope that we understand why this event is catastrophic. So first and foremost, I want to say one thing which I didn't say, but it's obvious. I condemn this event. I condemn political violence. Political violence is unacceptable. It should never be tolerated, accepted, because regardless of your opinions, Charlie Kirk was right-wing. Regardless of whether somebody's right-wing, left-wing, likes Trump, dislikes Trump, likes Israel, doesn't like Israel, or whatever, we're all human beings. We're all brothers and sisters. We need to be humane. And I'm somebody who pushes for justice to be served when it's needed. I'm quite a radical person myself. In some instances, I believe that if somebody does something wrong, they ought to be punished and understand their mistake. However, I do believe we should be humane, and I do believe that we're all brothers and sisters in the end. And regardless of whether you liked him or didn't like him, I'll be totally honest, I never followed Charlie Kirk. I wasn't into his stuff. I didn't watch his content. I know him because I followed Candace Owens. That's the way I started to know him. And I wasn't into politics until 16 months ago, 14 months ago. So I wasn't a follower of his. I don't follow him, and I didn't like him. I didn't have an opinion of him. But regardless of what I thought of him and what anyone thought of him, we should all pray for his soul. We should all pray for his family, because this was a father who left behind a wife and two very young kids. I don't know the age of their kids. I think they're like 3 or 4. And anyone who doesn't share any empathy for him, and in particular for his kids and his wife, is just, I think, a vile person. This is my opinion. This is what I think. And we need to reflect on political violence as a whole, because in the last 1 year and a half, we've seen attempted assassinations, and sadly successful one, which was yesterday's one, of many people. President Donald J. Trump, then former president and likely candidate of the Republican Party, was shot in Butler, Pennsylvania. Trump was shot in Butler, Pennsylvania. And people don't understand, or they do, but forget that he was millimeters away from dying, because the bullet hit his ear. Had not tilted his head, he would have been dead. And the consequences of Trump dying would have been something really awful and something really hard to deal with, I believe. There would have been riots. Probably, I'd assume, there would have been an attack on the Capitol. I think we would have seen a lot of people die because of the riots. I think there would have been civil unrest. I don't think there would have been a civil war, because I don't think it would have gotten to that extent. However, I do believe that things would have got really bad. And that happened in July, 14 months ago. Then we have another thing that I'll mention. Nicholas J. Fuentes, another right-wing influencer, is not a Trump supporter anymore, and he wasn't a supporter of Charlie Kirk either. Nicholas J. Fuentes had a person show at his house with the intention of killing him. So they tried to kill him too. So we're talking about the president and another very huge influencer. And now Charlie Kirk, potentially the most famous right-wing person, political commentator in the whole American world, was assassinated. So this is a very, and I'm sure 2 senators were assassinated, or representatives from Minnesota, Democrat ones. And I'm sure I'm missing many other people, maybe I am. But irrespective of whether I'm not, I think that this makes you understand the very concerning pattern that can be very easily spotted. We're seeing more and more assassinations motivated by politics. Because Donald Trump's assassination attempt was motivated by the fact that somebody didn't like his policy. And same thing when it comes to Nick Fuentes, and same thing when it comes to Charlie Kirk, and I assume same thing when it comes to the 2 guys from Minnesota, the 2 representatives from Minnesota, whose names I don't remember. Also, I think they burned Josh Shapiro's residence, not residence, but the place he stays at as governor of the state of Pennsylvania. So this is a very concerning pattern, and something must be done about it. But sadly, America, I'm a European, so I don't know much about the Second Amendment, and I haven't spoken about it a lot because it's a very controversial issue. But guns have led to problems. They've led to good things, probably, I assume, because everything leads to good outcomes and bad outcomes, obviously. But in America, there has always been a lot of gun violence, political violence, which is extremely bad, and it is concerning, and I think something must be done about it, because the tensions are just too high, the climate is just too spicy, there is too hatred on both sides. Like, this is a time bomb. This is something which is about to explode. We're witnessing the decline and implosion, or explosion, however you want to say it, because we have to see if it's inward or outward, of American society. There is just too much tension, and there is no humanity, and it is something that is extremely dangerous, because this is what has led to the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And it's such a tragic event, guys. Really, I felt really bad after watching the video. After watching it, I felt something bad to my stomach, really to my gut too, and way worse than I felt when they shot Trump. Because with Trump, at least we saw he was alive. We saw he wasn't killed. We saw he stood up, so he wasn't clearly assassinated. Charlie Kirk, as soon as you watch the video, that was a person that was killed. And they shot him in his neck, on his neck. And the amount of blood that came out, he immediately went limp. People said that he rolled his eyes after getting shot. It's a very hard image to watch, and I would advise anyone who wants to see the clip to be ready, because it's awful. It's just shocking and horrifying. So this is what happened. Something must be done. I think people who threaten and make threats, I think there must be something. I don't believe new laws are necessary. If we upheld the laws that are currently in the United States, I think we'd be fine. And what happened is tragedy. So prayers to Charlie Kirk's family. He was a man, and I think I don't know him. I never watched this content. I watched the Jubilee debate. I did watch a part of it. Regardless of that, I must say that this openness to debating was really great and positive. And this initiative was a very noble initiative and good one, I think. Great one. It was a great initiative. And the king of college campuses, because it was by far the king of it, is now gone. And as Andrew Tate tweeted brilliant, it was one of the best tweets and most pertinent tweets I've ever seen. As he tweeted, Tate said, "It's the turning point, USA." That's what he tweeted. And I think that's the best way to put it. This is a turning point. We've also had the assassination of the Ukrainian refugee. We're seeing an attack, very, very drastic attack on certain ideas and values. But as a whole, I think the climate is just unbearable, and something must change, because the risk of societal collapse in the United States and in the whole Western world is there. Because the stuff we're seeing last year in the UK with the riots, it's gonna get uglier. I don't see this getting better in any moment. I think this is just gonna get uglier. Then we also had that the European Union is gonna pass a mass surveillance law pertaining to messages, and it is draconian, authoritarian, and I will speak out about it. I live in the European Union. If I get arrested, so be it. Was the destiny. God chose that I had to be arrested. I had to be a martyr. I don't think I'd get arrested, but nobody knows. The comedian, as soon as he got off the plane in Heathrow, London, was arrested. I hope it's not gonna happen to me, but you never know. So I'll talk about that. I'll speak out against that, because it's draconian, evil, authoritarian, against European values, whatever is left of that, because that's to be discussed. And I hope that society doesn't collapse. But guys, I think the future looks bright, because you always must be positive. But in the Western world, I'm talking about the United States and Europe. United States, I think, has got societal problems, very big ones. huge ones, and I think it is at the risk of collapsing. And it's gonna be either an implosion or explosion. In both cases, the outcome is gonna be dire, and because there is too much tension, and you see that the two sides only get farther, never get closer. I'm not talking about the Overton window. I'm just talking about the fact that the hatred is just so much that Republicans and Democrats don't speak to each other anymore. And in the end, we're all people. I wish Trump was more of a unifier. In the end, we are all people. You believe you should have guns, you believe you should be able to abort, you believe we should support Israel. It's your idea. We must respect each other. We must debate peacefully, like Charlie was doing. So that was a very good initiative. We must praise him. God bless him, and God bless his family, and hopefully they'll be fine. But they will. They're strong people. I suppose they've been through a lot. And thank you all for listening. Stay tuned. I'll talk about what's happening in Europe. And also, Europe is at the risk of societal collapse. I'll say this because people are just, something must happen. And the European people are barely sentient as a whole. We're not speaking out against anything. We let our governments wreck us. But there must be a turning point where it's just gonna be all bets are off, let out break loose. That's what's gonna happen, I think, at some point. It's gonna happen sooner in the United States, I think, because the Americans are more sentient. But at some point, something in Europe must occur so that the people say, fuck it, we're taking over. And I'm not cheering for this because I think it's a very dangerous path. But letting our government wreck us inch by inch is dangerous too. It's just a slower one. Accelerationism can lead to short-term destruction and short-term collapse, and then lead to revival. This slow killing that our governments are doing to us, on the other hand, leads to short-term benefits compared to accelerationism, meaning you can live and probably not get arrested, but maybe yes. But as time goes on, it's going to be authoritarian, mass surveillance, and it's going to be ugly. And I'll speak out against this, obviously, and I'll speak out against the mass surveillance draconian law that they want to pass. And I pray the Lord that the right thing will be done. And I will end with the following. I would never kill myself under any circumstances ever. I will never do it. If I'm ever dead, arrested, attacked, or disappeared, I didn't do it. Someone did. Or something happened. I just want to know that. I just want to tell you this. Because in light of what happened yesterday, I think it's appropriate for me to do so. Today, it's still today. Thank you very much, guys. See you soon, and take care. And prayers with Charlie Kirk's family.